The turnaround for Dodger Savage since he returned has been a really weird timeline. Why am I saying this? Well, simply because he was brought back. I don't remember when it was announced, but he was brought back in like early 2025. They went, Dodger's back, he's back. And then he did about 2 scenes. And then he left again. Yeah, he was already filming it in October. But it felt like a lot of his stuff were kept under wraps. And his stuff was shown in January. But after January, he just left. He just left for a while. And now he's trimmed up all over again. He's looking good. He's feeling good. And he's finally getting this hero's welcome. And it's about time. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff I could talk about in this video, but fundamentally, I do think this is all just going to be gloating and doubting and just enjoying Dodger Savage, because he's had a hero's welcome since he returned. Because he had his stuff with Maxine, but obviously that's coming to an end pretty, maybe not sharpish, but like within a month or two, Maxine is gone. It seems like she's done by the end of spring, at least if we had to guess. So, and now he finally has reunited with Sienna. He has now met Jez. He's now met Martha. He's reunited with Liberty. He has spent a little bit of time with Myra Pocahontas. And and they basically gave him 2 thirst traps, which isn't enough for Dodger. He needs to show off every episode. Calling it now. But no, it's look, Dodger, I'm not even the biggest fan of Dodger. Like, I've not really watched a bunch of him in the past. I've seen bits. I've seen a good chunk of everything. But I've not really watched too much Dodger. But the way, if you've never seen him before, Dodger, he is the golden boy. Dodger is probably one of the most good-hearted, does everything for the good, does everything for the right reason. He's usually always portrayed in a really, really good light, and this ends up kind of resulting in he's just a sweetheart. He is Hollyoaks' golden boy. He can't really do much wrong, and even when he does, it's usually because he was forced to do it. That's at least my characterization of Dodger. He's a ladies' man, and he's also absolutely fucking stunning. So there we are. What a gorgeous man. He could easily shave the beard now, but handsome rogue. So how did he come back this week? And I suppose I can also talk about the flashback episode just a little bit. Honestly, I wasn't really a big fan of the flashback. I didn't mind the flashback episode in theory. It just felt a bit undercooked for what it was. Now, I'm not just saying that to be a dick, but I can't lie. Warren could have not been there, and I don't think it would have made any difference, is my problem. And they also didn't really try go back and do, like, continuity, because everybody had their current hair and styling other than Mercedes. So it was just a strange. Obviously, it's hard to do. You can't like make them look like they did because we didn't see last year, so we don't know what they look like. But for everything that it's kind of doted to be, with how interesting it should be, I don't think it landed necessarily. But I still enjoyed it. I still like the idea of it, and I do definitely think we need to get more of these flashback episodes to explore that lost year that we didn't get to see. Because fundamentally, he is really fantastic. And yeah, sorry, I got really distracted. I was looking more at Dodge stuff. Alright, stop getting distracted now. But yeah, like, the issue with it felt like they didn't, the flashback episode, it felt like they didn't really deliver in what they wanted to. Because, yeah, sure, you're using the past to beef up the present to explain why Joel and Tommy's obsession with Joel. You're trying to explain why Warren, despite saying he loved Mercedes, would have just left her regardless. And this is supposed to complement the current programming, because now we know what happened in the past, and now we know why people are acting the way they are. So the flashback is Joel was on the gear, he was on drugs, and he was conked out. He knocked out Tommy's brother, who was belittling him, and he hit his head, and he's in a coma, which is fair enough. And then it's just kind of like, this is why we should be fine. And then it continues. The Warren, Mercedes, and Freddie stuff, it's weird timeline-wise, because yeah, they kind of established that Freddie and Mercedes had a bit of a thing going, but not at that time. That they had to wait for that. You know, they had to wait for that. So it felt like they kind of just bunched up what they established at the time jump and then kind of just sandwiched it back and tried to act like that was what they established with what happened. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it was interesting, and I do think we do need to explore the lost year because there's so much good stuff. But if you're gonna keep doing it like this, I don't really know what the point was. And fundamentally, I don't really know what the point of Warren being back was. Yeah, sure, it's cool that Warren was gonna go back for Mercedes and his girls, but he didn't because he's a fugitive and he had to stay on the run. So, like, I don't know, man. It's just, yeah, just underwhelming. Just they could have done a lot. They could have done it a lot better, and it would have been a cool way to just see a bunch of characters who were there in the past, but you still want to use the characters currently on the show, because if you've already axed them, are they going to come back for a flashback episode? Probably not, especially if they are dead now, of course. What else happened this week? I mean, I would probably go back to the Dodger stuff, and then I will wrap the video. So, here's why the Dodger, if you're an EastEnders fan, you'll know a couple years ago there's a character introduced called George Knight. And George Knight got a hero's welcome. He basically had everybody saluting him. He fixed a bunch of problems, and you go, oh man, this guy's great. He's such a cool guy. He's helping Ben fix his problems with Lexi. Everybody knows him from his prolific boxing days. And like, he got this hero's welcome. Just like, yo, look at this guy. He's the man. And Dodger's gotten the same because, as I said earlier, Dodger is Hollyoaks' golden boy. He always comes up smelling of roses, which is quite hard to do in a soap. And so Sienna has, he basically, Sienna's worried about her having MND, but it's revealed that Martha's been poisoning her. So this means that she's been struggling, she doesn't have MND, and it's just causing problems. But when talking to Maxine, she's going to want to get her affairs in order, and this was while Dodger was visiting her, and they were talking, and finally Dodger and Sienna had a confrontation like 10 years on. It's great. It was really nice. And then they do a double one when Sienna falls again because Jeremy decides it's time to spike Sienna so Mark can come back because he wants his family back. And so he calls Mark. Sienna falls over and he calls Mark and he finally appears. And then we get all these cool shots of like, this is the new Blakes. This is the family that they had in mind to rebuild Hollyoaks with. But because Sienna, Liberty, Martha, and Jeremy are still quite slim on the ground, right? They don't really have kids that are of age, and they don't really have kids who will be having big storylines like Ro or I guess Mario Pocahontas to an extent. But now with adding Dodger in, and you do get a bunch of cool shots where Jeremy is excited to have his family back. Martha's excited. Liberty's happy. Sienna is made up that her brother is back. Because obviously back when Dodger and Sienna were around, Sienna had a bit of an awkward, like a weird crush on him. And then you also had the Patrick element, which kind of just set it all on fire regardless. So now, with Jez still being worse than Patrick, but still being nicer on the surface, now it's their family, and they all kind of get together. Myra has snapped a picture of Dodger, and she asks if that's her dad. So Myra goes over to be like, why the fuck are you not seeing your daughter? And Dodger goes, it's not that I don't want to, it's just I can't, it's a messy situation. Obviously, he's undercover, doing an operation, trying to rattle Rex and Grace and D.I. Banks' operation. But Myra Pocahontas followed him. And he finally has a little sit down with his daughter. And he kind of goes, look, I do love you. And she's like, why would you love me? You don't even know me. And she kind of snaps out of it and gets angry. And like I said, I'm not even a big fan of Dodger, but these scenes made me go, man, Dodger's great. He's dreamy, isn't he? Like, I'm not even that big of a fan. I like him. I've enjoyed the stuff I watched of him. But these scenes immediately made me like, yes. But we build castles for this man. I would walk across hot coals to keep him on our screens. So I think the end goal is, can we keep him forever? Please. Look, he tried to do other stuff. Didn't really work, did it? So, Danny Mac, he was there for 4 years. Now it's time to keep him on the show. It has to be done. Absolutely has to be done. We need to do it. And just keep him. Can we keep him, please? Can we please keep him? That's all I want. That's all I need. All I'm desperate for. We need Dodger back for good. And I suppose his final scene is him having to prove to Grace and Rex that he isn't a mole. So he beats up Robbie Roscoe. He beats up Robbie Roscoe and has to prove that he's not a snake, he's not a snitch, he's not a copper, he's not undercover, etc., etc. So, all in all, it did take us a while to get here, because it seemingly, he joined, they had stuff to do, maybe he got ill or something, maybe he had other stuff going on, so he joined, then he left, and now he's clean shaven, well, now he's cleaned up his appearance again, he's not as greasy as he looked previously. So it's nice to see, it's nice that he's finally back, and now that he's back, I don't want to see him leave, because he really does fit in. And if people think that Hollyoaks is generally lacking these big stars, Dodger is a star. He may not be the most competent actor, he may not be the director's choice, but he has that on-screen presence that you need, and a lot of the pieces can kind of fall into it. Dodger always has his stories, he always has something to do, and that's what I'm excited to see in this new Blake family, which is, they had to make up for stuff they did before. They had to somehow make, and yes, admittedly, you had to kind of retcon a lot of things, and you had to rejig everything, and you haven't entirely changed it, but in changing it all to bring back Dodger, you take these, yeah, sure, you shouldn't have really changed everything, but if you're changing it so Dodger can return in this current lens of Hollyoaks, you may have lost a bunch of really prolific stars like Cindy, like Warren, and people like this. Ultimately, if we're getting rid of everybody we axed and we are renewing it with bona fide Hollyoaks stars, we have to take these victories. We do. We don't really have much these days as Hollyoaks fans. We are kind of scratching and clawing to not be axed by Channel 4. We've got to take this, and I will take it and run with it. So yes, Dodger Savage is back, and finally he's been reunited with his family. Truly my highlight of soaps this week. Tell me what you thought in the comment section down below. I've been Ash from Watching Walford. been having a bit of a rotten time lately, so I'm a little bit less energized or kind of vocal. Yeah, I'm just having a bit of a rough time. So, but we're still doing all the stuff we need to do. So we're getting by. Just I'm not really at my peak performance as such. Not that anybody cares. You're here to watch Hollyoaks content or EastEnders. Anyways, that's self-indulgent. Thanks for watching. What do you think about Dodger finally being reunited with his family? Tell me in the comment section down below. I've been Ash from Watching Walford. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.